AlbertOkine. I was born in Accra, Ghana, West Africa, and was born in February 13, 1966. So I'm a physician assistant and specialize in psychiatry. I'm trying to think at 2019, I have, so my wife and I have, 4 kids, and I think we still have 2 of their kids in our home. And our routine usually is going to, the kids' events, be it, soccer, and, me and my wife are both working. And so it was, typical. And, on Fridays we have Suland African Association, have a fellowship that meets on Friday nights. And so all of those things were going on pretty normally for us. So I have a son who was in college at that time, and the decision was made to really send him home. So things became real, for me. I mean, I think it was one of the first schools. My son was a student at Harvard, and I think it was one of the first schools in the country that actually decided that all the kids were going to go home, and they had to leave with all their things. And so I remember getting a phone call, and we were just pretty, ecstatic, trying to find a way to try and get him back home without any real plan. So I think that was sometime in, I think it was sometime in February. And so that was probably when I felt like things were just real now. And so that was kind of a little alarming, and the kids were coming home. What are you going to do to educate them? And are we going to be at work? Are we going to be at home? And all of those things. So there was a lot of things I was running through my head at the time. So yeah, it was chaos, either in our minds, in our own life structure. And then for me, in April, April 14th, I was home doing the clinic when I got a phone call that my father had passed away in Africa. And then it was much difficult because 7 months later, my mother, who was very healthy, also died.
Oh,
so
no.
in 2020, we lost 2 parents.
Oh.
And a difficult thing for us is because of the pandemic, we couldn't travel. And so both mom and dad are in Ghana, West Africa. And so we had to make arrangements to bury them, but we couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And so for both parents, we ended up streaming the funeral, and we saw it. I mean, I didn't go work on both days. I stayed home. I got to wake up early in the morning and be able to watch the funeral of my mom and my dad and my mom, similarly, 7 months apart. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just because, it didn't seem like I could give the sense of finality that I would like to do, because I wasn't there. I mean, Africans have their ceremonies and things like that we do that really is part of our identity. And when you're not able to do some of those things, it makes it harder to grieve through that process. Yeah. Being part of, Suland African Association, we had to scale down what we did, and so we were not able to see ourselves as often, and that was something for us that meant a lot. It was our group of people that we meet with that oftentimes we are able to share common things, and those things were not necessarily there. My son had a long hair. I've always cut my hair myself, and so that was not a problem. I was able to keep doing that. My son just got a long hair. Our girls have learned how to braid their hairs. They've always braided their hair. My wife did it, and both my wife and the girls all learned how to do that. So something good came out of it. It saved us a lot of money. By the end of the pandemic, they actually don't have to go to beauticians to have their hair done because now they've perfected it. That was what it was for us. For us, the fact that we were just there together, all 6 of us, under the same roof, was just exciting. It was meaningful, because we didn't get that chance that often, once kids started going to school.
Support for Facing a Changed World, an oral history of the COVID-19 pandemic, comes from the Margaret Ann Martin Everest Foundation, the Kind World Foundation, Humanities Iowa, the Friends of Siouxland Public Media, and listeners like you.